So after last week's High Watch week, going into this week, started to look ahead, and now it actually seems that we have a lot of days at the end of this week to look forward to. Now, of course, the biggest one is the May 1st full flower moon, which is going to be the first of the two full moons that will be there in May. And as God is always the first and the last, the fact that we have two full moons in 1 month and that they land on the first and the last days is significant. But in addition, on this 31st of May, the Aldebaran in Taurus will be in perfect conjunction. So that was the day in the beginning that marked the equinox. So we are approaching the kind of ancient equinox very fast. So that would say that something would happen perhaps closer to the 1st of May than to the end of May. The other thing we have for this this video is that of course it all hits on the weekend, but we started actually 28th of April this moon transit cycle from Virgo to Leo, from which Auriga, so the charioteer, Elijah was taken raptured by the chariots of fire. The Good Shepherd constellation is missing from this moon transit. I actually have more information, new information on it, so I'll cover that in this video as an extra content. And then of course in the watch dates that I have in the beginning, we're also taking a look on when the 16th, 17th of Ziv hits. Spoiler alert, it's on the weekend as well. And then the Passover too, which is biblical, is also actually already ongoing, because the Last Supper is ongoing already right now. So let's get started. First of all, in the calendar that I'm going to show you next, we have the watch dates and the high-level reasons like before. We do have the Auriga missing in the moon cycle from Virgo to Taurus, Virgo to Leo, which just started. And then we do have a connect with Taurus from this Auriga constellation that I'll cover in more details in the next in the video after the next slide. And then I also can show you some human hand tampering with also the stars and to which constellations they belong to. So I just found this out, so I'm sharing that with you today. And then in the end I have some Bible references for the moment. And I hope this video will encourage and provide you some oil. If it does, please leave a like and share below to help also more people see this then. Alright, so the watch summary slide, the familiar slide. So right now we are here, we are in the Wednesday. So the moon transit cycle from Virgo just started, from which Auriga is missing. We are still in the window of the Last Supper before the Passover 1 or 2, depending on where the Nissan would really start if we followed all the instructions from the Bible correctly. But it's still the Last Supper window, and of course if things happen sooner than we expect, it could be that even before the weekend something could happen. And then we have the T16 starting at the sunset on Saturday. So going into the next week, we have that prophecy aspect here as well. And of course with the Passover we do have another round of unleavened bread, and then the first fruits is overlapping the Ziv 16, 17. So the May 1st full moon, that's going to be on Friday to going on to Saturday. So that is the it overlaps with the Sabbath again. If it is indeed Ziv that is starting from this full moon, or if the second month already started at the last new moon, even though the sun was not in Aries, then this would be either Passover 1 or the second Passover, which is actually biblical. And if it is Passover, then we do have this convergence alluded to in the Bible between the Last Supper and then hopefully perhaps the marriage supper of the Lamb. So that could happen even before the Passover, or it could happen prophetically converging, so overlapping on the weekend or going into next week. So then if we count the month to start from the 19th, when the sun did enter the first sign, it's the first month sign of Aries, then now we would be, the lamb selection would be today. And that might be significant going on from tonight to tomorrow night. And of course, between the lamb selection and then the Passover, there's still 4 days. So if we start the month from the moment that sun entered Aries, so the first sign, give the primacy to the sun, then the Last Supper idiom would also stretch over to the beginning of next week. In my earlier videos, I had these comments about the Ziv 7, so that's this Nisan 22nd, and especially this 24th of April. Based on the day count, that was the day on which the Sabbath count, Jubilee count, and Grand Jubilee counts matched. So if something was to happen still before that match is kind of broken with the new Sabbath, then something could happen before the sunset on Friday. And then we have the 16:17 coming into Joshua's prophecy, so that would stretch over to the beginning of next week as well, but starting already on Saturday sunset. And then finally, we are already in this moon's transit cycle from which the Auriga is missing, so I'll cover that in full details next. So I actually took a look at Stellarium and pre-recorded this video. So in here you can see the moon, it is highlighted on the left hand side as well, and in this IAU constellation you can see what is the kind of official designation of the constellation in which the moon is located at this date and at this time. So this would be 3 o'clock in the night on the 18th of May, for example. And in this video, let me just press play on here. So I zoom in a little bit and then I click on the hours, so you can see when we move on ahead in time, the moon moves as well. And let's pause right there. So 18 o'clock, so this is at 6 o'clock at sunset on the 18th of May. The moon is actually occulting this one star, which it seems to be in Auriga, but it also seems to be in Taurus. And according to the official kind of designation of the stars, it is in Taurus, but we can see that without, even this is drawn, the Auriga, so that star also belongs to Auriga. So it's actually, the star is called El Nath, there, and the moon passes directly in front of it, so it occults this star on May 18th and hides this bright star. And this occultation can be viewed in the southern hemisphere. which reminds me of the Queen of the South idiom, which I covered in my previous videos, but probably I'll cover this in full details and recap it as we get closer to the 18th of May, if we are still here. And that is only 2 days past the new moon of May. And this new moon is special because it's in between the 2 full moons, which are both in May. So in this annual solar cycle, we will have 13 full moons. Now, this Elnat star is on the historic Taurus Auriga border. It was officially called Gamma Aurigae, so assigned to the Good Shepherd or the Charioteer constellation. And then you have this hexagram, actually, with the 6 stars, at least in here. But it was renamed to Beta Tauri, so the second brightest star, or second in line for the Taurus. And that is very, very interesting, because of course the Taurus has 2 horns, yes, but this horn was not there. So in some sense you could think about the adversary promoting himself to be second in line right after the Father, kind of taking the place of the Son, the Good Shepherd, even in the stars. So the whole story of the whole history is somehow written in the stars, perhaps. This is just amazing, that very secular thing like assigning a star to another constellation can be actually understood and explained through the story, the whole end-to-end story of the Bible as well. But yeah, summarizing, this will be a significant date, the 18th of May. All right, then ending with the Bible references, and this is interesting that we have Psalm 22, in which it's talking about Jesus on the cross. And if you read the whole psalm, it is actually very much worth the read. And it says here, many bulls surround me, strong bulls of Bashan, of smooth talk. That's adversary. Encircle me, roaring lions. The adversary is like a strong roaring lion looking for a prey. And then in the next psalm, Psalm 23, so right after Psalm 22, we have, the Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right paths for his name's sake. That's Jesus. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, for you are with me, Jesus. Your rod and your staff. Rod to get rid of the enemies, and staff to guide the sheep. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. The grace, we get the mercy of not getting what we do deserve, which is death and hell. We don't get that. That's mercy in the court. But we also get the grace. It's one thing to have enough in the cup. It's a completely different thing when the cup overflows. We get more than we need. We get more than we even want. We get what we don't even deserve. That's mind-bogglingly beautiful. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Be blessed, my friends. Thank you.